Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Cardano's ADA, reviewing what's been going on with that price action, what I think is likely to happen next, and all that wonderful stuff. Now as I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button, I do appreciate that. And if you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out, link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? Let's waste no more time. Let's jump right down into this thing. So starting off with the 1 hour time frame. And yeah, we were kind of a little off with our 5-wave structure. So we need to get that fixed. We saw this break to the upside. It basically meant it's a 3-wave pattern down here that was just slightly unusual. It overextended and we broke out of here on that 4th wave movement. Okay, so we had this break above the trend line as well. It's all good. We also broke out of our bearish structure. So let's go ahead and reflect on what that looks like. So we have a couple of things here. We can see that we can either take the C wave down here, which is probably going to be the easiest way for the purpose of this video without worrying about all those sub-wave counts. I'm just going to pop that one down there. Okay, we can see that we were in a bearish structure here. So we had the change of character, we had the break of structure, basically confirming it. And then we got another break of structure over here to confirm that as well, right? So we were in a bearish state of play, and then we got this break upwards. This break to the upside, of course, has now changed our character into a bullish state of play. So it's actually looking okay here for ADA at the moment. So good signs on the structure point, but we haven't broken the structure, or as it should be known as in my point of view here, is rather than a BOS, a CTS, which is a continuation of its trend. So if we go into this, we can actually take a look, right? What do we see here? Well, we have a bullish cross on the 50 crossing the 200 EMAs. However, the price action is struggling to get back above. Okay, so the price action actually fell below and is struggling to kind of get a closed position above it. Now, I do think we're going to be okay there. I do think we'll have the ability to break up higher, but we have to be really cautious because it is a very delicate time for ADA here. Now, looking at it, I suspect that we will be looking for a break upwards, but I think it's inevitable that we're going to actually have a nice healthy correction here. Okay, also, so if we reflect on what's going on here, we do see a 3-wave pattern right here, and it looks complete. Okay, and here at the moment, it's actually got a little bit of a concern that we haven't yet pulled back down where far enough. I suspect we're going to have a small bounce up where we'll find resistance, and we should not breach the local high. Okay, so the local high being, I think, this wick over here, in fact, at 30.2563. Just check, 30.2559. So yeah, the 6.3 is the one to kind of look at. So we shouldn't breach this one, 30.2563. Okay, that's going to be the local high that has to hold under this analysis. And we're looking for a move, basically come down at the bottom and come down either and tap or go down lower than 29.6038. And the rationale and the reasoning behind that is simply a sideways continuation pattern here at the moment. I am looking for a move to equilibrium though, but I think we're going to have to bounce around here or have an impulsive breakdown in order to get us there, because at the moment the current structures are that we've come here for an A wave, all of this is a B wave, and this would be a C wave. Now I suspect that this pattern in itself has to come up before it comes back down, so we might just quickly wick down a little bit lower than that, 29.6038, right? And that's a lot going on there, so let me try and break that down a little bit slower. So the next move, in my opinion, should be to the upside. Should be, but no guarantee, because we are looking for a deeper correction in itself, right? So we're looking for like this small move up into this upper area of resistance around 30.3 cent. Then, of course, this is going to be a part of a bigger move to the downside where we should be coming down lower than 29.6038. And all of that is actually a part of a 3-wave pattern that comes across here, like so. Okay, so it's basically 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves down. Right, and inside those waves there's 3 waves in each of them, so it's nothing actually that amazing. It's really boring. It's just sideways trading, and I think essentially we want to kind of see a move towards equilibrium, which would be around 29.19 to 29.29, and that would actually give us a nice healthy correction. But this is also fine. We can also handle the sideways ranging because it does look to me like we're going to see this as a correction and then a continuation move upwards towards probably 31.2 cent in that kind of range, right? And so it's looking okay, but we're not really where we need to be at this particular point of recording. So expect some volatility here for ADA in this kind of really boring ranging market until we kind of get a break in a direction. I want to see us move down for a nice healthy correction towards equilibrium, but it's not a necessity. Ultimately, it looks more likely that we're going to have a break upwards. So let's take this up into our daily time frame, right? And what does our daily time frame tell us? Well, our daily time frame shows us with a bullish idea here. And this bullish idea is that we are likely to see a break upwards from this continuation pattern that we find ourselves in, i.e. lower lows and lower highs. Now, it's possible that we come down a bit further here, but I don't suspect that's the case. I suspect that we are likely to break higher within this range. Let me zoom in so you guys can see, right? So we have the lower highs and the lower lows, and these are actually more bullish than you might believe them to be. Essentially, the idea of lower lows and lower highs is bearish, but the idea is also that you have this overlapping structure. The overlapping structure is basically showing us that it's a short-term move and we will be looking for a break upwards. And so we need to kind of consider that actually this could be the start of that break upwards as we look to test that 50 EMA. The 50 EMA sits at 30.57, and so if we can break above and close above that 50 EMA, I think we have a good strong chance of testing out that 200 EMA at a later date. So our daily chart's not too bad. We're coming out of the oversold area. We haven't done much in the way of price action, so I'm not expecting massive rallies. But as I said, around that kind of 31.5, there's resistance, and that I think was probably going to be an area that we're going to get hit back down on. But it'd be interesting to kind of see how it unfolds over that coming kind of days as well. Now, ultimately, on this daily chart, you can see there's still downward price action here to be had. So even though we're slipping down here, it doesn't actually mean that we're done. With the lows, I expect a small break up, only to break on back down at a later date. If we bring up our weekly time frame, you can see the target range here. We've got two. One that's really of interest to me, though, is the 15 to 18 cent range. The 15 to 18 cent is a Z-wave structure. The Z-wave structure is actually here between 8 cent and 19 cent, but as an internal count, 15 to 18 cent would finish off a three-wave pattern within our Z-wave. And so that actually would make the most amount of sense. Now, also, if we take that 15 to 18 cents on the 1 to the 1.236 on the fib scale within our Z-wave, and we take it all the way over to the left-hand side, what do we see? We also see that this is a previous area of resistance that was broken through, and this here could just be our test of turning resistance into support. So ultimately, this 15 to 18 cent level for ADA looks like a really nice juicy level to kind of be a good reversal point when it comes to this bear market for Cardano ADA. I do suspect we're going to see really significant gains on ADA in the future once we've bottomed out, and we can speculate, quite aggressively as to kind of where we think things are going to be heading. I've spoken quite heavily about the potential for ADA here being a lot more significant than some people are probably willing to admit. I can see potential for moves upwards of $10. Now, if we actually take the fib scale and apply the science that is Elliott wave theory to this, we can see if we take the low at 15 cents to give us a conservative target, you can see our 1-to-1 comes in at $26, right? Our 1 to 1.236 actually is $90, right? And so there's the potential here for a pretty significant run upwards. Now, you might be thinking, it can't possibly go that high. Do you know what the market cap would be? Yes, I do. And we have to understand what market cap is and what market cap is not. Market cap is just a calculation. It takes the price of a coin or a token and multiplies it by its circulating supply. It does not represent money. It does not represent value. It does not represent liquidity. And it doesn't show you the amount of money that's just floating around in a project. It shows you the idea that something has value, but nothing more than that. So don't let market cap trick you into thinking that it's going to be a barrier to price discovery, because price dictates market cap. Okay, if you cannot understand that part, then I think we're going to have a struggle here. But ultimately, the things that you do need to be focusing in on are going to be the idea of supply and demand. Supply and demand dictates everything, and they're the only things that you really need to focus in on. Don't get distracted by pointless calculations like market cap, and actually focus on the things that are affecting the price, because it's the price that is going to affect the market cap, right? So what affects the price? Supply and demand. And so if we can see a shrinkage of supply and an increase in demand, the price goes up. And you have to have those at pretty significant levels. If we want to see Cardano ADA hit $26, then we're going to have to see a significant shrinkage of supply and a vastly increasing demand, right? And actually, we have a recipe for that already. We can see over 1,200 dApps being built on the ecosystem. In fact, I'm kind of moving on into data. So let's break into the data tab, right? As we can kind of see, right, we have 1,200 dApps being built on the Cardano ecosystem. That in itself is going to do both the supply and demand parts of the equation, right? We're going to see a lot of these DeFi applications that have been built on Cardano lock up ADA. Okay, and the total value of ADA is already growing at an exponential rate, right? So we're going to see total value locked grow and the supply of ADA shrink, but also at the same time, all those dApps are going to also bring in demand. There's going to be use case there. And so we're going to see an increase in demand while simultaneously shrinking the amount of supply that's actually available for purchase. This essentially is going to give us a catalyst for a massive, massive rally on Cardano. So, yeah, I think we're going to see some really good price discovery. Whether we hit the $26 on the one-to-one, is yet to obviously be seen. We don't know, what's going to unfold. But in terms of the predictive capabilities of Elliott Wave theory, that is what it's telling us and showing us right now. And to be honest with you, I think $26 is actually very achievable when it comes to everything that is going on with Cardano, which we're going to get into a little bit here. So membership website, link for this is in the description below. This is something that we've pulled together to kind of give members access to so much more than just what you could get from the likes of Patreon and so forth, right? If you're a YouTube member, you might want to cancel that one and just join up here. And if you're a Patreon member still and you haven't cancelled, what you're waiting for, join here because we're getting rid of Patreon. We fell out with those guys. So we're going to go over to the data zone. In the data zone, there is data for Cardano. If I load up the data for Cardano, we have all the stats and all that fantastic stuff. All-time high, the amount of days it's been since its all-time high, the gas fees, all that kind of stuff, right? If we go to liquidations, we can see the amount of liquidations that have occurred in the last 24 hours. But I want to focus in on wallets, right? Because not only are we seeing at a true foundation level the growth of Cardano, right? We're seeing dApps being built, right? We're seeing projects that are building on this ecosystem, and they're doing a really good job at that, right? All the way through to actually taking a look at the people who are buying ADA and actually holding it for the long term, right? And so in this particular data, we have 10 different wallet sizes. We have the low spectrum, which is basically 0.001 ADA, right? Essentially, they've got a wallet with ADA in it, right? And that is 4.4 million wallets, right, as of yesterday. And you can see there's a growth in this of 17.12% in the last year, okay? It's grown very, very rapidly during this bear market. You can see this light blue line, that's the wallet count, and the dark blue line is the price action. As price has been going down, these wallets have been accumulating. But we go all the way up to 1 million ADA, right? And we can see here there's 2,819 wallets that have over 1 million ADA in them. They are down 2.05% in the last 365 days, but they're up 2.85% in the last 180 days, which basically tells us they were selling at the bottom there, or they were selling in a year ago. So basically, as price was pulling down during kind of like August, September time, 2022, and then it started buying up again in the last 180 days as it kind of bottomed out into those new lows that we've seen, right? We can see in the last 90 days, it's up 3.15%. And so we know that there's accumulation happening here, not just at the really small levels, but also at the really tall, really large levels, right? The big, I want to say institutional players, and not necessarily institutional players, but they are really big players in the case of Cardano. There probably are institutions that have 10 million, 20 million ADA, right? But I can only see more than a million ADA in the wallet. And so even from 100,000, right, we start kind of entering into high net worth individuals through to maybe your retail investors at 10,000 ADA and so forth. And as we kind of take a look at these things, there's growth across these patterns, right, across these wallets, across the board, right? So no matter what the level is here, we're seeing that Cardano has been heavily accumulated. And therefore, I think there's an anticipation across the board here that Cardano is going to have probably one of the best bull runs or be one of the best performers of the next bull run when it does actually start to materialize. So it's really, really interesting to me. Let's move over into some data because there are some interesting things happening within the world of news. So Cardano to expand Mithril to Africa via new collaboration. So the Cardano training program. We'll equip participants in Haskell programming languages, Marlowe Finance smart contracts, and Plutus smart contracts. The program will involve both in-person training in the Africa Blockchain Center and virtual settings as well. So, you know, there's stuff happening in the background, right? We've seen some really cool stuff unfolding, and they're not slowing down. They're still building in this bear market, right? The Cardano network is doing incredibly well. We can see this across many different fronts, from total value locked all the way through to transaction growth. It's just absolutely performing well. So I do expect we're going to see some really good significant gains in the future across the board there. Now let's move over, because I do need to talk a little bit around exchanges. Which we can, of course, take a look at liquidations on that side of things. There's not that many exchanges that I found that do leverage trading for Cardano, or there isn't really much of an appetite. It's probably the better way of saying it. There's not much of an appetite for leverage trading ADA. Instead, it's more about buy and hodl, and it makes sense to kind of buy and hodl. But also, if you're a trader, you can trade ADA on leverage on certain platforms, right? So you can see here liquidations in the last 24 hours. Binance seems to be the top spot here for liquidations on ADA. Huobi in second spot, OKX in third, Bybit, and so forth, right? But when it comes to exchanges, I personally prefer BitGet. BitGet is my go-to platform, both for spot and for leverage. But that's not to say that it's my only platform that I use, right? I use Binance, I use Coinbase, KuCoin, Gate.io, Bybit, and so forth. But ultimately, BitGet is my go-to platform. I signed up to BitGet. I actually started using it, and you haven't really looked back since. Ultimately, it's a really easy to use platform, easy to understand, easy to navigate, and ultimately, I just found it to be really intuitive. So if you haven't yet signed up to BitGet, I do urge you guys to sign up. The affiliate link is in the description below. Ultimately, I think it's a good idea to have exposure to as many different exchanges as you possibly can, because in the bullish market, some of these exchanges do go down under load. There's too many people trying to log on all at the same time. You need to be able to be familiar with as many different exchanges as you possibly can. So sign up to them. There's many different links in the description below. There's many more links in the Discord server. Ultimately, I prefer BitGet as my go-to platform, so check it out. Link for that is obviously in the description below. If you do sign up to these platforms, they do say various different offers. BitGet are offering up to $8,000 of rewards, depending on how much you deposit and trade on the platform. And, you know, why not take advantage of these things, right? Get used to it, understand how to move money on and off the platforms, and all that kind of good stuff. So why not check it out? Link is down in the description below. Moving over into the trade section, we can see that there were a few trades that were achieved yesterday. Nothing too major. We saw some good long positions on Shiba Inu and some really jokey ones on VeChain, kind of bailed out at 3%. We had some really good trades the day before and so forth, right? So for our members, we have various different things going on. I'm also investigating a few other trading strategies and techniques and things that I might be able to issue for our trader members as well. So yeah, I think members have been absolutely crushing it recently. We've got some really good wins over the last few days. And so hopefully we'll see some more volatility in the market soon and be able to take advantage of that volatility and trade using BitGet's leverage mechanisms as well. So I think, guys, I'm going to wrap this video up right there. If you found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out. Link is in the description down below. Until the next one, though, guys, have a fantastic day.